So welcome to Wednesday Night Transform Your Thinking. So glad to be here. I hope that last week you guys enjoyed Hope, because I've been needing it this week. I've been using it. Hope we use it every single day. And tonight's an interesting night. We're going to be talking about our health and going over some signs, some symptoms. And we brought some articles. They're not my articles. And I do have 2 out of 3 references of who the articles belong to. I apologize that I did not put the 3rd reference. But I will just say that it's not my article, the very last one that we're going to go over. And that, if you really want to know who, where the information came from, you could, Google some of the information that will be on the screen at the end, and then you can find who the article belongs to. So, talking about our health, Scripture reminds us of the importance of taking care of the temple of God. And Paul beseeches us to be in a state of health as we continue to grow in the renewing of our minds. In 3 John 2:2, the Scripture says, "Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul." Meaning that we will never be able to achieve complete health unless we change our thinking. And in changing our thinking, we will produce a healthy body. So it is of great concern how we Christians, we separate the spirit and we separate the body. We pray, we come to church, we read the word, yet after church, we're looking forward to the get-togethers, right, for the fellowship. It seems like church and donuts and coffee, they go together, and for some, that would include the fried chicken. Yet, the Spirit is crying out, stop. As a matter of fact, people overlook 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17. It says, "Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person. For God's temple is sacred, and you together are that temple." That verse, the Scripture, is very impacting and is very profound. And again, it is often overlooked. God was not talking about a temple made of bricks and stones. And he was not talking about the tabernacle. We've been learning a lot about the tabernacle. As far as we're concerned, the veil is broken. But there is another temple, and that is you and I. Some people may perish for lack of knowledge, and perhaps you are this person. But today we want you to leave with the truth by answering some questions and answering them very honestly. There are 3 ways we're going to talk about that we can assess your well-being by breaking it down into categories. So today we're going to cover 3 categories, okay? And as we go over various signs and symptoms, that's what your paper is for you to write it down. Write down so that we don't forget, and you can take it home and research on how you can improve your well-being and your health through the articles that we're going to be reviewing tonight, okay? So the 3 areas we're going to look into tonight, the first one is stress, the second is nutrition, and the third one is your physical body. Okay? So the first article that we're going to look at today is going to talk about stress. What is stress? So the definition that we received here. Stress is the body's reaction to harmful situations, whether they're real or perceived. So there could be a stressful situation really going on around you, and there could be a perceived one, something that you're thinking about, you're pondering over. Maybe, sometimes in our thoughts we think about the what-abouts or the what-ifs. So it could be a real situation that's actually happening. It could be a perceived situation. Whether you feel threatened, when you feel threatened, a chemical reaction occurs in your body that allows you to act in a way to prevent injury. This reaction is known as the fight or the flight syndrome or stress response. During this response, the stress response, your heart rate increases, breathing quickens, muscles tighten, and blood pressure rises. You've gotten ready to act, and this is how we protect ourselves. So stress means different things to different people. What causes stress in one person may not be a same stressor in another. Some people are better able to handle stress than other people are able to handle. And not all stress is bad. In small doses, stress can help you accomplish tasks, and it can also prevent you from getting hurt. For example, stress is what gets you to slam on the brakes to avoid hitting the car in front of you. And so that's a good thing. That's the good stress. Our bodies are designed to handle small doses of stress, but we're not equipped to handle long-term chronic stress without facing ill consequences. In other words, when our bodies are under a constant stress, real or perceived, our bodies are not meant to handle it. It's meant to be, in doses to handle certain situations. So let's go over some of these. Emotional symptoms of stress. Okay, we're going to go over some of these. This is, your paper is for you to write down to see this pertains to me. And of course, anyone can get a piece of paper at home, get your phone to take notes to see if you are experiencing any of these symptoms. Emotional symptoms of stress include being easily agitated, frustrated, or moody. Feeling overwhelmed, like you're losing control or like you need to take control. Having difficulty relaxing and quieting your mind. Feeling bad about yourself, which is low self-esteem. Feeling lonely, worthless, and depressed. Now, these are symptoms about, lonely, worthless, and depressed, of which are chronic. They are long standing. They're going on for a long period in your life. People sometimes can have an up or a down according to a situation, a death or something like that. But this, these things that we're talking about are long term, nothing just circumstantial or short. Avoiding others. Emotional symptoms of stress could mean that you don't want to deal with anybody. You can't handle it. You want to seclude yourself. You want to isolate yourself. Physical symptoms of stress include low energy, headaches, upset stomach, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, aches and pains and tense muscles, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, insomnia, frequent colds and infections. That's because when you're under stress for a long period of time, your immune system goes down, makes you susceptible to things that are going around. Loss of sexual desire and or ability, nervousness, shaking, ringing in the ear, cold or sweaty hands and feet. More physical symptoms are dry mouth, difficulty swallowing, clenched jaw, and grinding teeth. So those are physical symptoms. Cognitive symptoms of stress include constant worrying, racing thoughts, forgetfulness and disorganization, inability to focus, poor judgment, being pessimistic, or seeing only the negative side. Those are cognitive symptoms. Okay? You guys need a second? Anybody need a second to write? Behavioral symptoms of stress. Behavioral symptoms of stress include changes in appetite, either not eating or eating too much. It's also procrastinating and avoiding responsibilities. Increased use of drugs, alcohol, or cigarettes. And exhibiting more nervous behaviors such as nail biting, fidgeting, and pacing. Okay, all of these don't have to apply to you. You could have, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4. You may have more emotional symptoms than physical symptoms right now. But the problem is that with long-term stress on your body, eventually it will come out in your physical. So you may say that right now, only have these few symptoms. But if it's not dealt with, it could go on until it's affecting your whole body. So don't think just because, I only have, 1 out of 4. You still need to handle that 1 out of 4. You still need to deal with it. Now that we know some of the signs, some of the symptoms, let's talk about the consequences of long-term stress. A little stress every now and then is not something to be concerned about, like what we talked about. Stress can be good. It can motivate us to take care of something by a deadline, in the middle of a crisis, a car wreck or something like that, or to handle a circumstance in our lives. But again, we're talking about long-term chronic stress, ongoing, is what can cause you to have serious consequences in your body. It can cause mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, and personality disorders. Cardiovascular disease, including heart disease, high blood pressure, abnormal heart rhythms, heart attacks, and stroke. Consequences are also obesity and other eating disorders, because the way that sometimes we handle stress, like what we read about, overeating or not eating, and it can turn into a disorder. Menstrual problems, sexual dysfunction, such as impotence, premature ejaculation in men, and loss of sexual desire in men and women. Prolonged stress can also cause skin and hair problems like acne, psoriasis, eczema, and permanent hair loss. Gastrointestinal problems such as GERD, gastritis, ulcerative colitis, and irritable colon. Go ahead. So those are some of the long-term. Can we stop right there to go back just a little, please? Those are some of the long-term consequences of not dealing with stress. So, before we go forward, I want to know, does anyone, you don't have to share out loud, I just want you to think for a second, yes, I see myself here, or no, I don't see myself there. I used to be that way, or I'm becoming that way. I want you to stop and think for a moment. If you, have found yourself reflecting in any of those signs or symptoms. I don't want us to just roll through it and give you a bunch of information. I want you to take a moment and reflect on it. While you do that, I just want to say that this article came from WebMD.com, Balanced Stress Management, Stress Symptoms, Effects of Stress on the Body. So most of the information that is there came from that article. Let's go to the next one. Nutrition, okay? Nutrition. It's a big one because sometimes we eat, sometimes we don't eat, sometimes we overeat, sometimes we just eat all day, grazing. So we need to find out about our nutrition. How is our nutrition affecting our health? Okay, foods contain nutrients. We all know that our body needs nutrients. The nourishing substances that give your body materials and the information it needs to function well. Without nutrition, our bodies will not do what it has to do properly. So missing out on important nutrients can have a detrimental effect on metabolic processes occurring in your body. In contrast, getting too much food or food that gives your body the wrong signal, such as processed food, can make you overweight and undernourished at the same time. Furthermore, high consumption of unhealthy foods raises your risk of developing diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and arthritis. Something we want to just put out there with the processed food is a lot of times it's empty calories. So you're getting no nutritional value, even though you're eating something that's just going to sit around you, things that have been fried or whatever is going to sit around your waistline or, bring cholesterol levels up. Things can happen in your body and you're getting absolutely no nutrition. So we want to make sure that the food that we're eating has nutritional value, okay? Not just to be eating something to get full. A fragile immune system. Poor nutrition can cause deficiencies in certain micronutrients that help your body boost your immunity, and an insufficient intake of macronutrients and energy, okay? That was a mouthful. I want to read that one more time. Poor nutrition can cause deficiencies in certain micronutrients that help you boost your immunity. And poor nutrition can also cause insufficient intake of macronutrients and energy. So if we are having poor nutrition, we're going to suffer. In other words, we're going to be lacking in the nutrients that we need. Such nutrient deficiencies can turn off your immune responses. We talked earlier in stress, meaning that you become more susceptible to sicknesses and diseases, ailments, and so forth. Because of the impaired immune system, you're more likely to develop infection, illnesses, which together can aggravate the states of malnutrition by decreasing nutrient absorption, encouraging nutrient loss, and changing the metabolism of your body. So in other words, it can turn circular. So if you have poor nutrition and that causes the person to get sick, then the body's not able to, do what it needs to do. Therefore, it leads back to getting sick again, and then poor nutrition, and you just go around in a circle. Wildly swinging blood sugar levels. Eating a diet that falls short of vital nutrients can upset the mechanism that manages your sugar levels, leading to hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. Hypoglycemia means low blood sugar, whereas hyperglycemia signifies high blood sugar. A lack of nutritious foods and skipping meals can result in hypoglycemia. You may experience hypoglycemic symptoms such as a headache or excessive sweating, dizziness, depression, fatigue, and blurred vision. On the other hand, eating too much food can cause hyperglycemia, and symptoms of hyperglycemia include excessive thirst, high blood sugar or glucose, high blood glucose, frequent urination, and high sugar levels in the urine. Okay, so it's very important that we eat properly so that our blood sugar levels are not swinging. Okay, you want to keep them stable by eating healthy foods. Unwanted fat, a diet with unwanted fat. And it is not good. Obesity is not something that happens overnight. It develops slowly from poor dietary and poor lifestyle choices. According to the Harvard School of Public Health, studies in teen and adults show that regular consumption of fast foods lead to weight gain and obesity. I'm so sorry. A fast food leads to weight gain and obesity. Similarly, evidence suggests that foods such as sugar-sweetened beverages and refined grains multiply the risk of weight gain. It multiplies the risk of obesity and diabetes. The Harvard School of Public Health further says that incorporating whole grains, fruits, and vegetables into your diet can help maintain a stable weight. This is because the fiber content slows digestion and keeps hunger at bay. Also, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables in your diet will maintain the blood sugar. It won't give you the spike by eating the wrong foods, the wrong type of starches. Deteriorating mental health. According to an article in the April-June 2008 issue of Indian Journal of Psychiatry, diets of people suffering from mental disorders, depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder lack critical nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, and omega-3 fatty acids. The study further states that making poor food choices might contribute to depression, which is characterized by a depressed mood, a loss of appetite, and increased sadness and anxiety. Deficiencies in the neurotransmitters, the brain chemicals that transit information from one neuron to the other, such as the gamma aminobutyric acid, the noradrenaline, dopamine, and serotonin can lead to depression. People with mental illness usually suffer from deficiencies in common nutrients such as B vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and omega-3 fatty acids. And these nutrients are precursors to the neurotransmitters. So without having a proper diet, without having a good, healthy diet that will provide all the nutrients that you need, your mind is not able to send what it needs to send to one another. And I did watch a study one time with people that had many of those mental disorders. And they put them in a place and completely altered their diet for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, some people were able to lessen the amount of the medication that they were taking because the vitamins and nutrients that they were getting from the healthy food was helping their brain to work properly. And at another time, like in 60 days, some people were able to come off of certain medications. So I am not saying, however, to stop any medications or to do any testing on your own. I am saying that speak to your doctor if you have medications and any type of disorders, and see how you can work with your doctor and work on your diet to see how it can help your body to heal itself and to get back on the right track. And everything that we're going over here, I do want to say, is not for you to go home and do anything. If you're on any medications or anything, don't stop anything. We're encouraging a good diet. We're encouraging you to eat properly, to give you signs and symptoms. But we are not saying that this is medical advice. This is information, for you to take. And if you need to go speak to a doctor because you're under a doctor's care, please do so. But, it's always a good idea to eat a healthy diet. But please, if you're on any medications, speak to your doctor before you do anything. Because some medications require that you not eat certain foods because they are not good to be mixed. So I just want to let that out there. So how do you know if, maybe you're not eating a nutritious diet? We're going to go over some deficiency signs and symptoms. Okay, again, this is not to take place of anything medical, your doctor's information. This is generalized information for us to get an idea that we can say, maybe I need to eliminate this from my diet, I need to eat healthier, and so forth. So here are some general symptoms of deficiency in your diet. If you're suffering from fatigue, a loss of appetite, pica eating, non-nutritive substances, a loss of taste, cold intolerance, pale appearance due to anemia, keratoderma, I am so sorry about that one, which is a yellow discoloration of the skin noticeable on the face and the trunk of the body. Diffuse hyperpigmentation, muscle wasting, for example, clothes are appearing too big, or loss of limb muscle forms. Loss of height and excessive curvature of the spine. The next one is the skin. Do we need to take a break for someone to write anything? Okay. In your skin, okay, how would a lack of nutritious diet reflect in the skin? It could be itchy, dry skin, red scaly skin in light exposed areas, excessive bruising, a hemorrhage or redness around the hair follicles, bleeding into a joint or other unusual bleedings, plugging of hair follicles with keratin or coiled hairs, fine downy hair on the torso. So these are some of the symptoms, because remember that, you eventually, your body will start to show symptoms of a lack of nutritious diet. So maybe you don't have everything, but again, maybe you could say, you know what, I just noticed this, I need to keep an eye out. Okay, so you may not have all symptoms, but it doesn't mean you're going to develop everything either, but it also means maybe it's a red flag, you need to assess your diet. Some signs in the mouth. Could be a sore tongue, cracking and peeling of skin on the lips, cracking at the corners of the mouth, recurrent mouth ulcers, enlarged veins under the tongue with microhemorrhages, smooth, shiny, or sore tongue, atrophic glossitis. Now we're going to move into the head, the face, and the neck, which is scalp and hair loss, dandruff, redness at the sides of the nose, redness or cracking at the outer angle of the eyes, and I can't even pronounce the last one. If someone would like to help me there, if there's a doctor watching, goiter. Is it goiter? Goiter. I think it's called goiter. Forgive me for not. I think I'm not going to say that. Goiter. A goiter. Okay, so.
Usually on the neck. People have them on the neck.
That's what it is.
Goiter, I know that.
Uh-huh.
That word.
You know that one. So it is pronounced goiter.
I guess it is.
I think so. That's what
it says neck and hands where you usually see. You'll see
like over here.
With like a bump.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I apologize for not figuring out how to pronounce that before now. But that's why I have my people around here. So the next one, hands and nails. Signs and symptoms of an unhealthy diet, non-nutritious diet with your hands and nails. Your nails could be brittle or flaking. The nails could be upturned or spoon-shaped nails. Yellow discoloration of the skin, noticeable on the palms. Carotenoderma. I don't know if I could have a hallelujah for that one. Caroteno, derma. Musculoskeletal. Okay, musculoskeletal. Muscle pains and cramps. Calf muscle pain after minimal exercise. Excessive calf muscle tenderness. Walking with a waddling gait. Difficulty getting up from a chair or climbing the stairs, or weakness of shoulder muscles. Bowed legs. Twitching of facial muscles when tapping on the facial nerve in the front of the ear, which is a sign. I'm gonna guess he's probably Russian. Chivastek sign. I don't know that. Eyes. Poor night vision and conjunctival dryness. Gastrointestinal would be diarrhea, constipation. Neurological symptoms. Am I going too fast? Neurological symptoms. Restless legs. Burning feet syndrome. Loss of balance when standing upright with your feet together and the eyes closed, which is called the Romberg's test. Loss of vibration sensation in the lower limbs. Peripheral neuropathy. Numbness, tingling, disordered sensation, pain and or weakness in the hands or the feet. Unsteady movement or walking, cerebellar ataxia. Forgive me again if I said it wrong. Mental state, depression, irritability, poor concentration. You know, we could say fogginess, unable to think clearly. Cardiovascular, heart failure and palpitations. These are some symptoms that come about because of a lack of nutritional diet. Okay, we have to eat a nutritional diet. And this article came from kcallife.com/wellness/A109. We're good so far to continue. So we talked about stress, symptoms of stress, consequences of stress, and some important information about your nutritional eating habits, what they should be, and what happens if you're not eating a nutritious diet. And we went over a bunch of signs that maybe potentially your diet is not the best diet. So again, this is not doctor's information, but this is information for you to take home and say, I think I need to evaluate my eating habits. Okay? Third and last category that we're going over tonight is physical, the physical category. It is normal to want to be healthy, but sometimes we don't always do what we're supposed to do to get healthy, right? But I'm hoping that tonight, we're going to get educated and realize maybe I'm stressed, maybe I'm a little stressed, I'm a lot stressed. I need to find ways to handle the stress in my life. Maybe I need to change some things in my diet, add some things to my diet. And next we're talking about the physical, okay? We have to implement things in order for us to have a healthy body, a good temple. It has to be implemented. Because if we walk away tonight saying, oh, that was good information and we don't apply it, then, we could be in, a potentially bad situation in the future if you're not already there. So it's completely normal sometimes to ignore physical signs from your body that things are not normal. Why is that normal? Because sometimes people don't want to admit that there's a sickness or admit that they have a problem. Maybe they don't want to stop. If you're a person that's always on the go, you don't want to stop and go to the doctor. I know people like that. They don't want to go to the doctor. Or maybe you ignore, you're the kind of person that it's your norm to ignore symptoms because you don't want to go to the doctor. You don't like doctors. You don't want to face doctors. So, many reasons. You could pick your own reason why a person would ignore physical signs. Maybe they're just afraid. They're afraid of what the doctor might find. They're afraid of what they might hear from the doctor. So, in one way it's normal that some people react like that, But as believers, it should not be normal because we want to take care of our body. And we shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be overriding our bodies. And if we have found ourselves in this situation, we need to stop and take care of our bodies, okay? We cannot pretend that everything is fine if we're having an issue. Yes, we believe in healing. But you know, like, I think that it was Creflo Dollar. I think that it was Creflo Dollar one time that said, you know, he would go to the doctor and find out what the issue is so he can go home and pray about it. Oh, I know who it was. I apologize. It was not Creflo Dollar. It was Miss Robinson from, you know, look, I put her up there with the Creflo Dollar, and the Lord bless her. She said that she would go to the doctor if she had something wrong with her body, find out what it is, go home and ask the Lord, how do you want me to handle this, and how can I fix it? You know, so we have to sometimes go to the doctor. That's where the Lord leads us. Denial is often a way of coping with situations we're not ready to deal with. I just spoke about that. Some people are afraid. But denial does not heal the actual problem, and it can eventually lead to poor health and an untimely death in some people. You know, God gives us instructions on what to do. You know, I have a friend that I would say, Jesus had Luke. He was a doctor. Does not mean that we overlook what the Lord has to say to us, but we do have to take care of our temple and listen to what God says. Let's see, to help you understand subtle signals that maybe you're not healthy and that you're likely in some sort of a danger, we're going to go over 10 common signs to consider. Digestive issues. One of the first telltale signs that things are not so kosher in your body are signs of digestive problems. This is one of the most prominent and fundamental problems with people's health today, and unless you've been labeled with gastrointestinal disease, maybe you're not recognizing it. In other words, if no one has given you like a diagnosis, maybe you just think, oh, this is normal, or heartburn is normal, this pain in my chest is normal, whatever it is. So subtle signs that your digestion is likely impaired, okay? That is likely impaired is the key word. Less than one well-formed bowel movement a day. More than 3 a day may also indicate an overactive bowel, which could be a sign of lurking problems. So bowel movements are very important. Gas or bloating after meals. A lack of clarity, like a brain fog after you've eaten or thereafter. Arthritic conditions, maybe things flare up in your body. Heartburn, indigestion, problems in the back, an itchy anus, skin problems, low energy after eating, feeling like you could sleep after you eat. And I used to have those, I used to have some of those, so I can tell you that it's, definitely a symptom of something, like the low energy after eating, feel like sleeping. Not turkey, not Thanksgiving turkey. But I would eat and feel like going to sleep, and it had to do with my gallbladder, which I still have, and I will keep it. So many of these symptoms are considered, they could be considered normal, but they are indications that digestive system is being compromised. So you could say, maybe, once in a while I have bloating after meals. But these are things that could be happening on a recurring basis, something that is not just once in a blue moon, something that could be happening, like, man, I'm noticing that this is happening to me. So we need to pay attention to those things. It's not just a once in a while. Anything could happen like that once in a while. You could eat an onion ring, you could eat a pizza, give you, stomach ache. You could have a big turkey dinner on Thanksgiving and want to go to sleep. But these are symptoms that are happening on a regular basis, okay, or frequently that you want to pay attention to. Mood problems, not hangry, but mood swings, okay, because sometimes we can get a little bit, upset when it's time to eat or past our dinner time. But we're talking about chronic mood swings, okay? If a person is constantly up and down, okay, it's not a sign of good health. Being angry, outburst, crankiness, it could be crying, just mood swings up and down. It could be something that you or someone else suffers from. It could be a solid indication that your hormonal balance is upset. If it's not remedied, This type of condition could lead to severe anxiety, depression, immune system dysfunction, cancers. You know, we don't want to make anyone afraid, but we're bringing information that could go from something little that, if not paid attention to, could potentially, you know, be dangerous to your health. It doesn't mean that if you have some mood swings right now that, you know, you're going to have cancer in the end. I don't want to give that. But what we're saying is that if you can say, oh, you know, I'm noticing that, whatever, for several months, I'm very moody. I'm up and down, I'm up and down, I'm up and down. Then go, you know, speak with the right person to find out if you have an issue. But the point is here is to bring information for us to have our eyes enlightened that we're not supposed to be having so many certain issues. And if we are, we need to find out if it's related to a lack of exercise, a lack of a healthy diet, or too much stress in these three categories that we're talking about right now. The longer that mood swings persist, the greater likelihood of escalating problems. You know, out the myself out there, I used to be very moody in the mornings, very, very moody in the mornings. And, you know, I used to watch TV and things like that. I was working long hours. And some circumstances in my life changed, and I went to bed earlier. And who would have thought that going to bed earlier, like with myself, it stopped the mood swings. You know, I was not so cranky in the morning. You know, I didn't have the face, didn't have the attitude, didn't have the rudeness. And all I needed was sleep. All I needed was sleep. But I really did not put two and two together because my life was hectic. I had a lot of things on my plate. And just getting more sleep changed the whole morning to a beautiful day. So like I said, it doesn't mean that it has to be something terrible going on in your body. You just need to assess your situation so that you can find out what's going on. Chronic low energy. It's difficult to find someone who's constantly high energy. These people have managed to avoid toxins and malnourishment that plague society today, which in turn gives them their energy and upbeat attitude. Energy is one of the first things to go when your body starts to malfunction. When there's something wrong with your body, your energy is going to go down. Consider it slowing down to a computer running too many operations. There's not enough RAM or energy to run the basic operations and provide you with the additional energy as well. This is often due to much of your energy being directed to a burdened digestive system and liver, which leaves very little left over for you to enjoy the physical and mental levels that your body needs. So have you ever noticed that when you get really tired that you can't think straight? Have you ever felt like sitting down, napping, or having a sleep after a meal? These are signs that your eating habits and efficiency in which your body operates is compromised. The end result is a deteriorating energy levels. Another area of the body that is showing signs of wear and tear when your energy is low is your hormones. It's often rooted in adrenal and thyroid problems, those are your main energy producers in the body. Due to stress, burdensome amounts of radiation, and lack of nourishment, these hormones have, taken a beating. And as a result, when those things are unable to function properly, then you have no energy. And also a side note, if you need coffee on a day-to-day basis, not drink coffee, but if you need coffee to keep your energy up, that's a stronger sign that your energy is pooched, is out. Okay? I'm not talking about if you like to drink coffee, but if you are surviving on coffee because it's the only way that you can make it through the day, there's a problem. Okay? So make sure that you're going to check your body. Poor sleep quality. I should have just gave my testimony right here, but you know what? It was my mood. It was my mood that needed altering because I needed more sleep. Reality is that the longer that you go without quality sleep, the more you will age internally and externally. When you sleep, your body heals itself. So, get to bed early so you look beautiful. People too often dismiss poor sleep quality as inconsequential, meaning I don't have a good night's sleep, it's not that big of a deal, I'll catch up on it later. But certainly parents with newborns or those with chronic pain know that it can be difficult to get through the night without being woke up for extended periods of time. This is understandable, but if you want to maintain your health, everything it needs to be addressed. Your sleep quality and chronic pain, things like that need to be addressed. However, if you don't have challenges, if you're not if you don't have a chronic illness, if you don't have a newborn, and you find yourself waking up consistently in the middle of the night, not being able to go to sleep until early morning hours, the chances are that there's something off in your body. Your sleep rhythm is off. This is a sign of hormonal. It could be a sign of hormonal imbalance. Needs to be addressed in order to become healthy. Your body requires a minimum of 8 hours of sleep at night, and you cannot, something that we've studied before, you cannot catch up on sleep. So you can't go days and days and days without really sleeping and then think, I'm going to sleep for the next 23 and a half hours. Your body, you may sleep 23 and a half hours, but that does not mean that your body was not damaged during the days that you didn't sleep. You're really just catching up on rest, but damage was done to the body. So we really, need to focus on good sleep and focusing on, getting a good amount of sleep per night and not oversleeping either. Skin disorders. Still on the physical. There are several types of skin disorders that people deal with on a daily basis. The most common being acne, eczema, and psoriasis. The result of all of these can be brought on by different types of health conditions, but regardless, they're all signs of an imbalance. If you have chronic skin disorders, there are fundamental reasons behind it. It could be hormones, digestive system, liver, all of the above. Skin disorders also comes from stress, okay? Emotional things going on. It could be made worse with stress. It may go away with topical creams. But no matter how it looks or how it reacts to treatment, it's a sign of imbalances and quite possibly toxins that can't be processed. And now they're being pushed through your largest detoxification organ, being pushed through your skin. So to get rid of skin conditions, you need to take care of your gut, because we know that down here, if you do any studies, affects your whole entire body, which is most likely the root of the problem. Your food, your lack of nutrition, indigestion, an organ not functioning right. As I was learning, studying the gallbladder and this that has to happen for this to happen and this to happen, and before you know it, you have a stomach issue. So check your gut. Let's see where it was. Check your gut, drink plenty of water, avoiding sugary drinks, as well as fast food, fried food, greasy foods. And of course, see your doctor. The point, one of the points that we're going over all of this is sometimes we need, to take a medication for something, but there are things going on in our bodies that we may not need to take a medication for just because we're sleeping right and we're eating right and we're handling and managing stress in our lives. And that is the goal, to be able to maintain our temple well without the use of medications, to the best of our ability to not have to take medications. Allergies, which most of my friends here, they can testify God healed me of that, which came from stress and other issues. So allergies can quite often be identified as a problem with no, beneficial treatment, kind of like you're stuck with it. Or they could be separated from all other health problems and dealt with separately, instead of looking at allergies, as a whole. Allergies as a whole, meaning with your body, what's going on emotionally and all of that. Sometimes they separate it, but nothing could be further from the truth. Allergies are commonly identified as a problem related to the digestive system, the immune system, and the liver. Most often, if one is compromised, then the rest are also compromised, and they then contribute to each other's dysfunction. So one thing going whack can cause something else to go out of whack, can cause something else to go out of whack. When one falls down, the others have to pick up the slack. So they become overactive, and you have issues. So if you have allergies, if you're dealing with chronic health issues, sometimes they can be solved easily, but others require more work. Either way, once a problem is uprooted, the allergies will disappear. I just want to stop there for 1 second, because I can say that, I had a lot of allergies. Some of it had to do with emotions. A lot of it had to do with emotions in my body reacting. Some of the allergies, stem from food, but then that stemmed from circumstances in my life. So that's why they're talking about allergies should not be necessarily separated, a separate issue from the rest of things that's going on in the body. Memories can trigger allergies in people's body, things like that. So really a person needs to have an overall health checkup. Maybe you're having an allergy, but what else could be going on in your life that could cause that to happen? And I want to say that because I've had that experience, and I used to carry around a little pencil case full of medicine, and God has brought me through that, and I'm healed. So praise the Lord, and I'm sure others have same testimony. Just want to shout that out. Aches, pains, cramps. The world has become riddled with aches and pains and cramps. You hear everybody say, I'm aching, I'm this, I'm that. It's been completely normal. Some people think, they'll tell you, oh, I'm getting old. Oh, this is going to happen. So they've normalized aches and pains, which we're not supposed to be like that. So in a day and age where most people, they don't do hardly any physical work, but yet we are, the worst off. We're not physically moving, and we're definitely suffering the consequences for it, along with a bad diet, lack of stress management comes out into your body, like what we were saying. So many times aches and pains, they're a sign of toxicity, could be a sign of malnourishment, could be both. If these problems are addressed, you would find less injuries in situations that may have a higher impact on the body, like heavy lifting or exercise. What that means is that if you're not eating properly, if you're not managing stress, if you're not having everything that you're supposed to be doing, then you could have issues in your body. But if you were eating healthy, if you are managing your stress and taking care of yourself, a higher impact exercise, like lifting or something, you would not get injured that way. You know what I'm saying? Because of a lack of nourishment and everything, a person could get injured more easily. Women also deal sometimes with chronic cramping related to their cycles. It's not normal because here the word is chronic. This is not a normal part of the process and can be alleviated with hormonal balancing or other things that your doctor can speak to you about. If not, the imbalances can worsen and create further problems down the road. Definitely want to drink a lot of water, ladies, for that. Brittle hair and nails. Brittle hair and nails. We talked about it briefly, but if you're suffering from brittle hair and nails, is most likely not the weather, but a sign that there's a fundamental deficiency that would normally keep your body in good health. Okay, sometimes doctors, they check your tongue, they check your ears, your eyes, and sometimes they check your nails because it's your symptom, it comes out through there. Typical reasons for poor hair and nail health could be an underactive thyroid, a lack of certain vitamins and minerals, dehydration, or an adequate protein uptake. So if you're having some of those symptoms, check your diet. Fluctuating body temperature. You're hot and you're cold. You can't seem to maintain proper body temperature. The furnace is constantly being adjusted, or at least down here in Florida, the air conditioner is constantly being adjusted because of hot flashes and chills. You could be overheating. It could be an infection that is within a person's body. Maybe they're overlooking it. It could be a hormonal imbalance. It could be, that you're missing nutrients in your body, such as if you're constantly cold. You could have a thyroid problem. It could be anemia. Maybe your metabolism needs to be regulated. People sometimes joke about hot flashes and chills that don't think much about it, but it always could be a sign of other challenges that need to be addressed in order to be healthy. So, pay attention to that. I think we're almost reaching the end of our study tonight. We're going to end with body odor. We all get body odor on a daily basis, regardless of what we're doing. But a body odor may be more easily produced in certain situations. It's generally not a good sign of health, such as your average sweat. We're not talking about being outside in the Florida heat and being sweaty. We're talking about like a body odor that has not, gone away. Even though you're showering, you're washing, things like that. It could be the body odor can be the result of a few things, but all the way down to the root is bacteria. Sweat is odorless, but the bacteria on your skin that's being released is what causes the sweat to smell, giving us body odor. But that is not the odor that we're talking about, not just the sweat. Foods that you can eat can cause different types of body odors, such as red meat, seafood, garlic, onions, cabbage, and other spices. But that is not the type of really body odor that we're talking about either. The real issue with the body odor stems from a bacterial or fungal problem, which would make it worse. There's a certain awareness that needs to be present when you're becoming healthy. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for 1 second. I want to go back to that paragraph. We're not talking about like a body odor because, you're eating certain spices and things like that. It's a body odor that you can't get rid of. That could be from something on the inside of you working its way out. And that includes even bad breath. Even after someone has brushed their teeth, they could have bad breath. Could be something going on the inside. So we want to make a distinction from having bad breath because you ate garlic today and having bad breath every single day, even though you use mouthwash and you brush your teeth, something going on the inside. The same thing with the body odor. I want to make those distinctions. Body odor can sometimes just be like, man, that person they smell all the time, even though they're washing, taking good measures to stay clean. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So there is an awareness that needs to be present when you're becoming healthy. Okay? Pay attention to everything that we've talked about. Pay attention to what's going on in your body. This intuition needs to be developed by understanding your health and also by recognizing signs and symptoms of degrading health. So being aware of what your body should be when it's healthy and being aware of signs and symptoms when there's a change in your health. When something is going on longer than it should go on. You need to pay attention to those things. Failure to acknowledge or recognize these symptoms and signs of dysfunction is dangerous. So ignoring it, not paying attention to it, not going to a doctor, not talking to someone about it, being afraid because of what you might hear. All of those things are dangerous things. That you can't ignore those things. We have to take care of our temple. The Lord wants us to live a long life. Our health, without taking care of our health, we could be in a precarious situation. It could lead to death. It could lead to, amputation. It could lead to all kinds of bad things. So, we just want to pay attention to that. You will know when you get truly healthy because you will have, a good restful sleep. You'll have consistent energy. Okay, these are some things that we're just not talking about understanding your health, what it means to be healthy. You'll have restful sleep, consistent energy, balanced moods, beautiful skin, beautiful hair, healthy nails, relaxed muscles and joints. You'll smell clean, and you'll have a regulated body temperature. You will also crave healthy food. If you eat healthy food long enough, you will start to crave it.
Amen.
You will. Like after our 3-week fast in January, I remember one particular time I ate some chocolate right after the fast. I was like, chocolate. And it did not taste the same. It was so displeasing. But sometimes we get in the habit, we want to go back to eat what we used to eat. And then that chocolate tastes yummy again. That's the truth. There's no other way to say it. But when you start eating healthy, your body really does start to crave it. It's true, right? Everybody who knows what I'm talking about.
We're creatures of habit.
Creatures of habit. We want that ice cream that we used to have.
Yummy, yummy in the tummy.
That's right. So, we want to crave healthy food, vegetables. We want to be turned off by processed foods, things that are full of sugar, full of flour, and just empty foods that have no nutritional value. We want to get out of that.
Yeah, I got the cat in my house. He's not eating rice at home. He's not even making vegetables. So
You doing what?
The guy in my house.
Uh-huh.
He eats rice a lot. I told him, man, you gotta cut that rice out. I mean, you don't have to eat rice. But when I cook like, I've been cooking like, I'll cook like green beans with mushrooms, other than rice. I eat a piece of steak. But I put, instead of rice, do something else. Man.
Right.
Not just rice. Squash. And the other day, like, I got home and we had like mushrooms, squash, carrots, all like chopped up and the thing, and I kind of sauteed. I was like, all right.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, there's a place for carbs in our diet because carbs do give us energy, but we have to watch the carbs. If we don't watch the carbs on our plate, we'll be watching the carbs
Accumulate.
accumulate in other
You'll
places.
be carrying the carbs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and we don't want to do that. So I want to encourage us to, eat healthy, look at your stress levels, look at, your responses to stress. Are you dealing with any long-term chronic stress in your life? How are you dealing with short-term stress in your life? Because even though we have short-term stress, we don't want to avoid eating for 3 days because you're dealing with a stressful situation. Your body actually, needs food. It really does in order to function properly, even if you're going through a situation you don't feel like eating.
I tell you, the sleep part, when I was doing my party, I would only get like maybe 3 hours sleep. And that is so true when you wake up cranky and just hating life, man,
Right.
But now, I go to sleep at like 10:30, I'm already in bed. I wake up like, man, I wake up great.
Right.
I wake up great, not hating the world. So now that's, and you got energy,
That's right.
I was like, yeah, I'm tired. But I'm like, dude, you sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And you got up at
You
7.
did it like for a whole month. And it's like, I was like crazy, man.
Right.
Crazy.
And when we don't eat and take care of our bodies when we're younger, we will pay the consequences when we're older. That's how it is, So by God's mercy, He would help us to,
one of the things that, as a youth, the Eagles be plays, you know what I mean? And thinking that, your metabolism is going to be the same years down the road, and your level of activity will be the same. I mean, let's say for even a person that is in sports like we see in the NFL and in the NBA for most, because they have like a, the aerobics kind of like, they call that,
like the cardio.
the cardio, that's the word, the cardio, the back and forth, Once they stop doing the hard thing, you see them on the shows, not to talk about, I don't know if they're recording, but some of them, you can see that they're very happy with their, they're like,
Their downtime.
Well, sometimes, like the soccer players, when their career is over, they gotta watch out how because they've been running so
Exactly.
much that their heart is pumping so efficient that then you get to the point that you're not doing that anymore.
And
So
they
that
still eat the calorie,
the heart goes to like some kind of weird stuff. They talked about it. They talked about it when I was taking that course. And they, like football players, they beef up. Those linemen, they eat to get 300 pounds. Now in the off season, they have to take that weight off because they're not doing all that physical thing, and they're not getting hit and not like that. So
they
they
don't
have
have
to
the
go
H,
back down.
they don't have the H or N.
Yeah, and that's the way a lot of those guys get like heart attacks and stuff like that because because you could be super in fit, but you can catch like a systolic interior motion, which is like they call it a SAM. No offense. They call it a SAM, and what happens is that the heart is pumping so hard that it sucks one of the leaflets, like the aorta leaflet, into you where the left ventricle gets the mitral valve, feeds in blood. The leaflet covers it, and then there's no blood going in there. What happens? Boom, cardiac arrest. And you could be the hell. That's what happened to that guy, Ray Lewis.
So in other words, we need to take care of our body, whether you're extra,
Like those soccer players, they
Uh-huh.
have to like
gotta
wing
take care of
off.
the body.
They gotta wing off, like
Yeah.
from all that exercise.
So whatever,
Like Michael Jordan, like Michael Jordan was like, whatever you see him, you're like, oh my gosh, like what happened to the slim, thin, Shaq.
We'll be like that with the name. Nobody can hear the name.
Like the level of activity that he was like to just, today, he says that perhaps he's going to the gym and everything like that, but you know, it's not the same, you know?
Right.
The age and everything, and I'm not saying that he's eating like that, but you can see the difference. Somebody that is being active and athletic,
Right.
you know? That's what I'm saying, you know, you can see you're old, you know, and even the new ones, even the Shaq just left a couple of years back, and he looked at Mr. Clean, you know?
He's big. That guy's 7 feet.
Yeah, but you know, he looked lean and everything like that, and you know, and now Mr. Clean is lean now. They know how to make him clean, but you know, but I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Sean Kemp.
But, and it,
Was like this. You see that guy laugh? He's like a pear.
So we're gonna pay attention to our bodies, pay attention to our moods and everything else, and we're gonna continue on Friday with our health class so that the body of Christ can be strong. We can be like Caleb, take that mountain, whatever age that we're at, monitor our body at every stage of life, and you know, like what they were talking, Omar was talking about, you know, even in the transition of our lives to be healthy.